this week. The fans will notice the hip drop and the kickoff. Was it a tough decision for you guys or easy to make?
No, I think the biggest one was the kickoff, and a lot of discussion about that. But I think as a league, everyone decided that it's an exciting play that needs to be put back in the game. So I think anytime you can make the game more exciting, we're in favor of it.
Well, obviously your expectations are always high for this team. I think, as you heard, a lot of national pundits last year didn't expect much out of you, but I think you believe that team was playoff ready. And what are you expecting this year?
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me last year where everybody had us, but that's what made it even more special as the season went on and made it more fun. And I think we're going to build off last year and looking forward to this year, and got a lot of our key players back. So looking forward to this season.
Joe, when you look at last year, the 3-1 start, the 4-7, and then to win 5 out of the last 6 to make the playoffs and win the championship, what was that roller coaster of emotions for you and the Glazer family watching all of this unfold?
Well, frankly, when we had that dip, when you looked at those games, they were relatively close games. So it wasn't that the performance was completely dropping off. It's just, sometimes things aren't going your way. So the team fought through it. Todd did a great job of keeping everybody on board and keeping them headed in the right direction. But then when the turnaround came, it made it even more exciting. And again, it was a lot of fun. But we didn't quite get as far as we wanted to. Our goals are always higher, and looking to build this year.
And Jason, at the scouting combine, Jason Licht, it was going to be quite an undertaking to get Baker back, Mike Evans back, the key free agents back. He did it.
Yeah.
How amazed are you, how he's able to make that work, and how do you feel about it?
No, Jason does a great job. His whole staff does a great job in preparing and then working the contracts. But then again, it also says a lot that the players wanted to come back, because you want a bunch of players that want to be with you, that are excited to be with you. And not only everyone who came back, great on the field, but we got great guys in the community off the field. And that's what makes it special. When you get it all together, it's what makes it more enjoyable for, I know, our organization, for our fans. They appreciate it. So it's all good.
When you have a player like Tom Brady retired, you don't know if you'll immediately find a successor, a leader, a playmaker right away. How fortuitous was it to have things work out as well as it was for Baker and to be able to lock him up?
Yeah, those are tough shoes to follow, and not a lot of people could do it. Baker stepped up and really did a great job filling that role, following some very difficult footsteps to follow, and everyone embraced him. The team embraced him. The community embraced him, and so it was a great transition. And it's hard to do, but successfully did it last year.
Joel, how do you define a franchise quarterback, and is Baker Mayfield a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, I always hear the word franchise quarterback, and I think a lot of people can define it different ways. At the end of the day, it's about winning, and quarterback obviously is a key component of winning, but if someone you can count on, reliable, consistent, lead your team, to me that's what's important.
Joel, what about the possibility of another Super Bowl at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa? I'm sure you've talked to Goodell. I know, what do you think?
Yeah, no, the NFL, I'm sure we'll get back to Tampa at some point. There's a lot of cities that are in line to get Super Bowls, and so, historically, Tampa's always been a great city for Super Bowls and always keep coming back. So I'm sure it's just a matter of time. It's just got to get all the different cities in their turn, and then I'm sure the day will come.
And does it also mean to continue to make improvements and upgrades to Raymond James Stadium?
Yeah, that's something all teams are always looking at, and making sure they keep the fan experience up to date, and things have changed over the years. So we're always doing that. All the teams are always doing that. All sports teams, there's always an emphasis on that. So same with us.
I'm sorry. The stadium's 25 years old. Is there any long-term plans for improvements in terms of like closing the rim like maybe Miami did? Because I know obviously every summer it seems to get hotter and hotter.
Yeah. We did a bunch of improvements. It was about 7 or 8 years ago, and we're always, like all teams, we're always looking at upgrading and improving, and we'll continually do that as we go along.
Will a new stadium be needed down the road?
That's not something we're looking at what we have and how we can improve the experience now, and that's something I'm really thinking about right now.
Joel, you're talking about fan experiences. I think it was safe to say that the throwback jerseys coming back was a huge success for the fans. What was the reaction like within the organization to that? And is this something that you're looking forward to doing on a regular basis each year?
Everybody loves throwbacks. That was really energizing last year because it had been so long for various reasons why we couldn't wear the helmet. But to have him back, I know everyone in our organization was thrilled. The fans really rallied around it, had a great time with it, and it's something that I'm sure we'll look to do more in the future.
Would you be open? Yesterday they had the big press conference on how the NFL is continuing to play in different countries besides just the Germany. You know, going to. Would you be on board playing overseas, other than the England and also Germany?
Yeah, the NFL has got a real emphasis on expanding the game globally, and have made great strides in previous years of doing that. And the best way to do that is to bring the game to other countries. And so the NFL is going to really work harder to grow the game because it's big here in the United States. We know how wonderful the game is, and that's the next logical step to growing the game internationally.
Do you have a preference of maybe a country you'd like the Bucs to play in?
No, we've played in England, we've played in Germany, and great experiences in both, and we're always open-minded to wherever we can go to grow the fan base. We're happy to go.
Just to follow up on my question about the throwbacks, will there be a throwback game this year? Is that something that's going to be annual or on a more of a regular basis, but not annual?
That's something we're kind of working through right now, and when we settle on where it's going, we'll communicate that.
Can you reflect on 10 years of Jason Licht and his journey? And it's a long time for an NFL team.
Yeah, no, Jason, time flies, but Jason does a great job. And we're lucky to have Jason and in all aspects of what he does. And it's been last several years, whether it's drafting or free agency or cap management, Jason and his staff do a wonderful job. We have a great working relationship, and he's got a great organization that he's built. And that stability, I think, is key in this sport. It's the constant change that causes all sorts of problems. And to have that stability and everything Jason brings to the table, I think we're fortunate to have him.
Is there something you like most about the 2023 team?
I wouldn't say there's one thing. I think it was the low expectations. Again, I didn't agree with the low expectations, but the low expectations and then kind of proving doubters wrong and growing as the season went on. I mean, that to me is always the biggest thing. Is the team progressing as the team goes on, and you saw that with this team and fought to the end. Didn't quite go our way, but just the whole growth of the team as the year went on.
Joel, you guys have done so much for this franchise since coming here. 2 Super Bowls. As you talk about, fan experience has been improved almost on a yearly basis. The roster, you brought in some big names. I can't top Tom Brady. But when the NFLPA vote came out this year grading franchises, were you kind of hurt by that?
Yeah, well, there's 2 ways to look at that. One, I always welcome some information that you may not have heard from somebody. You would hope you hear it as the year goes on, but sometimes you don't always hear these things. So, they did this a year ago. We heard the list, said take care of everything because obviously we're not doing something right, and that's the goal. Everyone can always improve, self included, and anything we can do to improve, we always do. So,
do you address that with the team at any point, or?
Yeah, we make sure we listen to what any criticism there is, and then address it. So,
Are there specific things you're doing in response to this year's grades to improve that?
Everything that was on the list. So, yeah.
Anything
Joel,
else?
Joel, 15 years ago, it would have been unimaginable to have a Super Bowl in Las Vegas, right? And now you do. And gambling is something that can threaten any sport. We're seeing it with Shohei and different things. There was a story in the New York Times that 2 weeks before Tom Brady unretired, there was $10,000 and $20,000 bets on the Super Bowl and the Bucs winning it. How concerned are you, if at all, about that aspect, or how easy it is? You can bet on your phone. You can do, that might seep into the integrity of the games.
Yeah, there's been a sea change in the last few years when it comes to betting and legalized betting. But what you see with this also is a lot of more monitoring and regulation. So there is positives that come with it.
The footprint, basically.
Yeah, correct. But it's something that always has to be watched and something that always has to be monitored. And there's a balance. And got to walk that fine line. But it's all new and kind of learn and enforce as time goes on.
You did not have a Bucs Ring of Honor inductee last year. It was Rondé Barber got the night, if you will, with this Hall of Fame induction. But is that something that we can expect this year, to have another Bucs Ring of Honor member and perhaps Tom Brady?
Every year it's looked at, and we had a string of a lot of years in a row where we had somebody. So it'll be year to year making those decisions, and this year will be no different than any other. It'll be taking a look at.
Joel, do you have a thought on how difficult it is to have a sort of a defensive-minded head coach that's now has a third offensive coordinator in 3 years, that challenge?
Well, like I said before, consistency is kind of key, but with change comes new ideas and new freshness. It can be invigorating sometimes for players, so it's always a challenge when you change. But I think Todd does a great job of handling change and adapting. That's also a key component, being able to handle change. Some people can't quite handle change, and I think Todd has been in a lot of different environments, and his temperament is such that he handles change well, and there's a consistency that with him that I think the players appreciate.
From a
Two more?
organizational standpoint, how much did it mean re-signing Mike Evans and Levante David and keeping two pillars in the community in Tampa Bay?
It was very important, but not just, again, important. It was great for our organization. It's just great. Levante David, talk about Mr. Buck. I mean, that guy has been unbelievable. Unbelievable on the field, unbelievable off the field. Nobody cares more than Levante David. And to have him with us for so long, to have players that stay with the organization for a long time, these days with free agency, players moving around, it's rare, it's unique, and to have multiple people in that position, it's what makes it even more enjoyable.
We're coming up almost 30 years that your family has owned this franchise. What has this run been like for you guys as a family?
It's great, but you always want more. So when you get a taste of, when you get a ring or a second ring, you want a third. So, and that's the beauty of sports, because you should never be satisfied, and always striving to do more, do better, and that's the same with us. I mean, a loss pains us as much as anybody, and a win is as enjoyable for us as it is for, with our fans. So always want to do more, always want to strive, and keep pushing things.
So there is a spot for another trophy.
There's spots for more trophies. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Joel.
Thanks, Joel.